It's time to get some SportSense. You're gonna get some SportSense. You better get ready for SportSense. SportSense.
What's up, everyone? This is SportSense, the sports show for people who don't care about sports but want to know just enough to socialize with other humans. I'm Cooper Epps, an art director in the ad industry, and as always, I'm here with my dad, James Epps. Dad, how you doing? What's on your mind today?
Good, Coop. I'm just ready to party. Let's go.
Okay.
It's time. It's college basketball time, not football. College basketball time.
Yeah, don't.
I told you I'm still missing football. So, but your older brother and I will be starting coaching spring flag football here soon, so I'll get a little bit of that with a bunch of 9-year-olds.
Hey, I've seen the grandkids pass a ball. They're pretty good.
Yeah, these two are pretty good, but this time it's just Paxton. CJ's going to play. I'm going to help coach baseball too, but they're going to both play baseball. But they're just kind of
they're doing double duty this spring?
Yeah. Paxton is. CJ's just going to focus on baseball.
Oh, okay.
Mostly it's dad because he wanted to keep his team intact. That's for the fall, for the main season. So there's an abbreviated spring season. And this way you kind of keep your team together, practice some more, play a few more games, and you get to keep that team for the fall.
Cool. So
okay. It's all Keaton's trying to build, he's going to build a dynasty. So we got to
That's awesome.
I got to work hard to keep up. So
the Kansas City Chiefs of Wake Forest flag football.
Absolutely. Well, but he got us the Bills name this year, so that's good. We're the Bills.
Oh, do they name them after pro teams?
Yeah, well, we can. This one's kind of flexible. So his number 2 choice was BYU. So
okay,
we got our number 1 choice, the Bills.
Okay. Well, awesome. So is Paxton going to be the Josh Allen, the quarterback?
He does play. Yeah, we rotate. We have a couple, but he definitely plays
fun
quarterbacks. Okay. And CJ's been a receiver quite a bit, done pretty good. Both of them. Okay. Paxton asked last night or this afternoon. I said, yeah, I got to get home and do this podcast because you were texting and I had Chris answering. And Paxton from the back seat, I want to be on there tonight. His dad said, you got to go to bed tonight because he had not slept much over the last 30 hours.
Oh my gosh, I bet. Yeah, he's on such a vacation sugar crash. But speaking of which, tell everybody what you've been up to the past 24 hours.
So this was a gift from your mother to us, mainly because CJ apparently kind of asked for it. CJ, your nephew, is a huge Golden State Warriors fan, but especially a Steph Curry fan. So Grandma got tickets to the game last night. Only time the Warriors, they don't play the same division or anything. The only time they come to Charlotte to play they'll play the Hornets once a year. And so that was last night, March 3rd, Monday night. So we had tickets to that. So got them out of school early yesterday, got them out of school all day today. And we built a little trip to Charlotte around that ball game. So we had a nice hotel, which they love hotels. Had to make sure it had 2 things. I don't think they cared about a bed. 2 things. Free breakfast in the morning, which this one had incredible. I mean, you had a lady who cooked omelets for you, had the fresh waffles, you make, fresh fruit. They had everything.
Waffle toppings.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah. Big can of whipped cream. Oh, hot chocolate. I asked them, I said, what do y'all want to drink? I said, there's orange juice, apple juice, cranberry juice, there's milk, there's water, there's this and that. And this is classic. Paxton says, I want hot chocolate. What? How much? How rotten are you? How can't we get hot? She said, he always knows his facts, right? He goes, nope. My dad said there's hot chocolate up there because Keaton was off doing. I said, all right, let me go up there. And sure enough, there were 3 packs of, you make it with the hot water for them.
Wow.
So I made them hot chocolate and whipped cream on top of everything else. So it was and then we had donuts later in the morning.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Second breakfast.
But yeah. And so the second thing you had to have there was a pool, indoor pool. So we had indoor pool and played water football. Very simple, kind of like water polo, but water football till that shut us down at 11 last night. I was drenched and chlorinated and tired and ready to call it. So we partied, played some more cards. And finally,
Yeah.
I told him I'm tapping out, boys.
You
11:30.
play cards after the pool football?
Yeah, like Go Fish or something. I
Oh
can't.
my
They weren't.
goodness. Yeah, you're not built for those kinds of days anymore.
I tapped out and said, okay, 11:30, guys. I gotta get to bed.
Macy and I got invited to a concert this summer, a few months after the baby's going to be born.
Yeah.
And we were texting about it today saying, we're not even sure if we'll be able to stay up for a whole concert anymore after the baby comes. But
That's when you want this concert to start at 5 and end at 7.
Yeah.
That's right. I think I partied pretty hard. Mom has told me I got to keep up and stay in top shape for the youngest ones so I can still go hard with them. But
yeah, I need you to save a little bit for our.
that's
for
what
our
I mean.
kids.
Now you're going to have the youngest here. So I don't want to be on my last leg, but I might be, but I'll be giving it a go. You know me. So anyway, we had a great time. It was actually a very competitive game at times. The Hornets would get down by 12 and come back to 2 or 3 points, but then Golden State, you could just how they're from the coaching to how they comported themselves, how they conducted themselves. They're just a real I think we got the talent with the Hornets. We really do.
Really?
They got one guy injured. Yeah, we really do. But the coaching,
because I figured they were just trash garbage.
They're
as usual.
struggling. Well, they're struggling, but they've got the talent. I feel like it's more franchise related, more system related, more organizationally related, that they need to improve that.
Yeah,
Get some
I'm
more
seeing that
discipline and some real coaching.
They're 14th in the Eastern Conference, which means probably at the bottom of the league in general.
Correct. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. They competed right to then they lost. I don't know. They lost by 10, 12, 15.
Ooh, yeah. They're 7-31 this season in the conference, at least.
Yeah, in the conference. They got a few more wins than that, but they've lost. Okay. That was their 7th loss in a row. So they're struggling. They play the Timberwolves tomorrow night. But anyway, no matter what. So what we learned, it was a Hornets home game, right? But it was really a Steph Curry home game.
Okay, people were there for Steph.
So real quick, the history. Steph played at Davidson University. Davidson College is what we called it. A small school just north of Charlotte, about 25, 30 minutes. Because he wasn't recruited. He couldn't get a bigger school offer. And that's all he got. Whereas his brother, Seth, was a Dookie.
Okay.
So his older brother Seth, which one's older? He's probably younger. I forget which one's which now. But anyway, Seth. And here's interesting. That made it really interesting. It was a whole family thing because Seth now plays for the Hornets. So they played against each other last night.
Oh, that's crazy.
Steph and Seth.
I actually didn't know he had a brother in the NBA.
Yeah. He played at Duke. He's been in the NBA for years. He's just not. He's been a little bit more of a journeyman. But he's done well.
How would you define journeyman? Just like
he kind of bounced around with some different teams and really not being like top 1 or 2 or 3 players of a given team.
Okay, so just like steady Freddie, decent enough to stay in the league. And
I don't know. He's been in there for a long time, 10, 12, 14 years. I'm not sure, but it's a long time. So pretty impressive. So anyway, every time he did anything great, Steph, not Seth, Steph, the whole place would just anyway, it was well over 60%. I think we're pulling for the Warriors and Steph versus us.
The listeners aren't going to know who the heck you're talking about by the end of
Curry. Steph Curry, not Seth. I can't help it. I didn't name him, but their dad was Del Curry, who your mom and I went to see play when your brother Caleb was only 2 weeks old.
Whoa.
Can you believe that? Way back when. And that's because we got free tickets that were super up close and it was rocking. And because I had a friend of mine who was a backup center for the Orlando Magic. He was coming to town and then and we went to dinner afterwards. And your brother was 2 weeks old and didn't make a peep. He just, and he didn't go to sleep. His eyes were open the whole time on the ball game. So we knew, his first word was ball. Caleb's only said ball for a year or two.
Game recognized game, I guess, from the get-go.
I think so. It was crazy. Mom was crazy to go with baby only 2 weeks old. So she was a good sport.
That is crazy, actually. That's a good point.
But anyway, we had a blast. So that brought back some memories, but we had a lot of fun.
Well, welcome home. And sorry, everyone, for the delayed episode this week. But as you can tell with this story, we are in the thick of basketball season. And it's time. I know, Dad, you're not totally thrilled about this, but it is March. It's time for us to get into basketball and figure out what
I'm thrilled about college basketball.
Okay.
It's the NBA. I told you I'm a
Okay. Well, yeah, I
Barely
have a little
interesting.
NBA stuff to bring up later for our mailbag segment, but
I can do it
why?
though.
Yes. So I want to ask you why you don't love it. If well, yeah, maybe we'll
Well,
come back to
just
that.
briefly, I explained it before. I think the last several years, two things. And one, do not edit this, by the way. One, it got so politicized for a few years, just ridiculously. Hated 90% of the fans. Second is the style of play. Even I saw a lot of it last night.
Oh,
I,
you
I
did
just
mention
don't
this
I don't
before.
love the style of play when it seems to be. We saw probably 3 or 4 plays last night where you had a ball handler. He takes it all the way to the basket. I mean he was 2 feet from just doing a simple layup. Not couldn't have jammed it in because he had a defender, but laying it in. Instead, he turns his body and throws it all the way back out for a 3-point attempt to one of his
Oh,
guys.
yeah, that's just annoying.
So they do so much that they do drive and dish back and come back, and go back behind the 3-point play. So I don't know. And then they do that European backstep. Well, what do they call it? I'm losing my mind. I'm a little tired now. I got. So what's it called?
Yeah,
Anyway,
what
the
about the
drop step.
Europeans?
No, it's they're the ones that made it famous. It's like a travel every time, but they do that little backstep back
Is it
behind
like
the
where
3-point line.
it's like you kind of act like you're about to shoot, but then you step back and shoot from there? Is that
Yeah,
what you're talking about?
that. But
That's
they
just kind of that's just kind of a fakearoo, right? I mean, there's nothing
no,
crazy
but
about that.
it's all the little kids do now and they watch is they look at their feet and make sure they step behind and launch a 3 instead of they had a wide open lane they could have dribbled up and shot. I mean, in my teens, I'm watching Dr. Julius Irving. I'm watching some of the greatest of all time. And then in my 20s and early 30s, I got Michael Jordan with all those Larry Bird and those guys. Oh my gosh. You saw the bad boys from Detroit, Bill Lambier, they would duke it out.
So what are you saying? You just miss the old school aggressive rough and tumble basketball?
Well, a little bit more of a strategy other than just spinning around and always trying to hit a 3.
Yeah.
So really good pick and rolls like Utah Jazz in their day, Stockton and Malone. The mailman. He was the mailman, and Stockton delivered the assist. But they did the pick and roll, most beautiful pick and roll for their whole career. It's coaching, it's strategy, it's whole different movement of the ball. It's moving without the ball. So much of what I even saw last night, I saw, especially the Hornets. One guy, they move pretty well, but sometimes one guy's just handling the ball and everybody's shooting out past the 3-point line, waiting for, and then they move the ball around some, but still they're all kind of around the arc, 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then they have one big man that would be inside some, but I guess I missed some of the movement. I love passing. I love great passing.
Oh, sure.
I love great picks and rolls.
That's what's
and great defense. Sometimes there's not a lot of defense played anymore.
That's true. There is sometimes I have watched basketball and I'm like, oh, that reminds me of hockey, just the way that they pass around that arc, like you're saying, until they get an opening or somebody cuts down the middle. Yeah.
So anyway,
I get what you're saying. There's some finesse.
It's a different brand.
Yeah, some thinking to that. There's a concept in video games. Have you heard of this called nerfing and buffing?
No.
So when
I could not be more lost.
So okay, it's basically when they're attempting to balance out a game. So let's say they introduced a new character to whatever video game, and so Paxton and CJ, they love Super Smash Brothers. So
right.
There's been a lot of nerfing and buffing over the years in Super Smash Brothers because they would introduce a new character who was like really, they call it OP or overpowered compared to the other characters. So if you pick that one, you just demolish everybody and easy peasy. Yeah. And so nerfing is when you say, okay, we're going to take that character and decrease their strength in this category or whatever to try to balance the scales a little bit more with the other characters.
Yeah.
Buffing is the opposite, when there's not enough strength or skill or whatever. And so they increase
steroids, juice them.
Exactly. It's not always with characters. It's sometimes just with actual rules of a game. So I guess what I'm trying to bring up is that could be an interesting concept to introduce to the NBA is what's something that we could change about the rules in the NBA to discourage just a little bit some of that 3-point shooting. I wonder if there's something Do we need to make blocking a little bit more liberal or more aggressive, or what do you think could happen?
Well, interesting enough, that's one of the big changes too. Jordan and all his guys did all his points. The defense was rough. You could do what they call hand checking. So if you guarded a man, you could put your hand on his hip, push him off, hand check. Well, it's kind of like NFL quarterbacks right now. You can't touch anybody. You basically can't touch them. Like when they try to make a move, you can't touch them with your hands. The old days, they call it hand check. You could check them. You could push off.
When did they take that away?
Oh, it's probably been 15 years ago, I would think, at least.
Do you think that's part of why it evolved to
this?
It
becomes more offensively minded, right? So you just reduce the defense's one of its strengths of what it can do, and that's be physical in that sense with it. But and the other thing I would say is they travel all the time. It's
and the refs don't call it.
Not a lot, and that's what Steve Kerr, I think, got a technical. The head coach of Golden State Warriors last night. Go back. It's on ESPN today. He was pitching a fit and got a technical, and he was just saying, and it was true. LaMelo Ball, who plays for the Hornets, he had a couple travels that it looked like he went down a dirt road a mile or two and came back and hadn't dribbled. I mean, it was a doozy. He caught one up on his shoulder. He was moving it. He took 2 or 3 steps. That was still up here, and he hadn't got it down yet. And that's the one Steve Kerr lost his mind on, and they didn't call travel. So that's what I was saying. Some of that European influence, they did a lot of that with that. It's like they call it the Euro step. That's what they call it, the Euro step. And it's like an extra. It's really almost like an extra step before they get rid of the ball. Anyway, I don't want to be bogged down in that, but you asked me.
No. I honestly, there's a lot of interesting stuff you're bringing up tonight. Also, I want to bring up, because this confused me for years. I think it's just clicking with me right now. When I used to hear people say Steve Kerr, I thought they were just mispronouncing Steph Curry or slurring their words or something. But you're saying Steph Curry is the star of the Golden State Warriors and Steve Kerr is his coach?
And we would say Carr around here. Carr Lake, Kerr.
Oh, yeah.
But his name is Steve. He goes by Kerr, Kerr.
Okay.
That's the head coach and has been all these years.
Yeah, for years. I was like, they just slurring their speech. Are they on something today? Well, cool. Well, hey, we promised. I promised you I'd keep this to 30 minutes.
Yes.
And so we gotta absolutely sprint through a couple topics here.
Yep, we can do it though, because some of it's real simple to me right now.
Okay, well, yeah, hit me with. I know I wanted you to introduce us a little bit to the contestants of March Madness this month, but was there anything else you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, well, I'm going to give you a miscellaneous intro for that.
Daddy tidbits.
Miscellaneous is your namesake, Cooper Flagg, for Duke, played his last game more than likely. He's going to go in the draft, top 1 or 2 picks. So he's not coming back to Duke. So he played at home last night against Wake Forest. And he decided, I guess he just was so charged up knowing it's his last game at home. And he killed Duke, beat him 93-60. And Wake Forest not bad this year. Duke beat him 93-60. But listen to this. They call it a stat line, right? Statistical line, stat line.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It would be in any sport. Stat line. It could be hockey, attempts.
What's a line? What do you say? What's a
line? Line, a stat line. A line means here's all the categories you keep stats.
Okay. So a line
here's a stat line. When I describe it to you, you'll understand. Okay. A stat line was 28 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 blocks, and 2 steals. Okay. That's an unbelievable stat line. I mean, those are his statistics for the game.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, stat line's just like bing, bang, boom. Here's like
a summary of the summary.
Yeah. Okay.
But can you imagine 28 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 blocks, and 2 steals? I mean, that's a heck of a night.
I mean, sure. I mean, it sounds good, I guess. I just don't have any I don't have any reference for what's great or not, but if you're saying it's great, then that's exciting.
Well, those are 5 excellent. Yeah. It's pretty remarkable.
I mean, the only thing
3 blocks alone is a great night. If you're a great defender, you get 3 blocks. That's really good.
I mean, I guess the only thing that really speaks most normal people's language is how many points do they get in a game? Yeah. And so did you say 28?
Yeah, 28, which is fine. They score a whole lot more. That's good. But then to rebound the ball 8 times and then have 7 assists, that means you made a pass and they scored on that next, on that pass. But
Okay.
and to have 3 blocks and 2 steals. I mean,
So he was
that's a
on
heck
fire.
of an all-around game. Yeah, he
So
played.
yeah, he came up with someone in a with some conversation I had at work today. Actually, I think because they were asking me what team I was a fan of in North Carolina, and of course they're like, "Are you Duke or Carolina fan?" NC State.
Yeah,
I was proud to say it last year, but
that's right. This year, not so much.
But anyways, yeah. So Cooper Flag came up, and anyways, yeah. So he's. You said this was his last game. You think that he played
At Duke, at home, at Duke Cameron Indoor Stadium.
But what about the March Madness?
Yeah, but they're not going to play home.
That?
They're not going to get. They don't play at home. They'll go.
Oh.
That's the way March Madness works.
They just go to one town and play there.
Well, multiple. Each weekend is different city.
Okay.
As they progress, if you keep winning.
Okay.
But that's his home crowd, home game, home. They're wrapping up the season, right? They're wrapping up the season, and that's their last home game.
So would you? That's good. Good. Congrats to him, I guess. And what would you say? Because people who aren't super into sports, they at least know some of these giant names like LeBron James, Steph Curry. I'm trying to think of another one, Michael Jordan. But is Cooper Flag gonna be one of those? Like absolute, like everybody knows his name.
No one knows, but if he stays healthy, there is no reason he doesn't become a real presence in the NBA. But he's still so young. He started as a 17-year-old when he got the Duke. He's only played one season. So he's got to mature. He's got to physically get stronger. You got to get tough because, man, college, they end up, even if they play deep into March Madness, they play in 35 to 38 games, 37 games. Then they play a 72-game schedule or 72-game schedule. Is that right? In the NBA. And it's brutal. I mean, as you play against brutal men each and every night you play, men.
Sure. I mean, you're not allowed to touch each other apparently, but
no, I was saying when you're dribbling and you're making,
but sure, you
bang underneath, you block out. There's things where it's still pretty physical.
Yeah, you're playing with some hardened veterans of the court,
right? So it's going to take a while, but the predictions are sky high for them, right? So what's interesting to wrap up that before we go too quick about the March Madness is this Saturday. You know how in college football they did it, and they do it in college basketball. ESPN Game Day, College Game Day.
Yeah,
where they go to a city, right?
Yeah, and do a special. I don't know what evenings
all day long, right? It's a party. You got the fans, and
Okay, yeah.
They're live. They do it live. They got all the main guys. Football or basketball. Well, the college game, ESPN College Game Day is in Chapel Hill, North Carolina this Saturday because every season the ACC puts Duke and Carolina as the final regular season game.
Okay.
Because historically those two have been so good for so long.
Okay.
And they're the hated rivalries, darker blue and lighter blue. I mean, when they're done, there's red left, not the wolf pack, but anyway, So that's pretty cool. That's all I'm saying. Cooper Flag's going to be involved in that. They're going to make, that's going to be a big deal Saturday.
Cool.
For over in Chapel Hill.
So that's, we can call that our game of the week, UNC versus Duke, right?
Absolutely.
This Saturday.
That's going to be national mega attention nationally.
Cool.
Which leads into all I've really got to say. So right now, just put it in this group. Our audience is time thinking. This weekend's the last of the regular season for conferences. Next week, conference tournaments occur. Your conference, like ACC, SEC, your different conferences.
Kind of like we talked about with football. It's the same conferences, right?
Yep, but they're having their tournaments for basketball.
Okay.
And then a week from Sunday, so a week from this Sunday, regular season will be over and the tournaments will be over for the conferences. And you have Selection Sunday. Selection Sunday. A week. That's where they select.
Oh, that's just where they decide who's on the bracket.
March Madness, right? Exactly.
Okay.
The 68 teams that become 64 teams, real quick. So that's a week from this Sunday. So just kind of timeline. Conference finish up this weekend. Conference tournaments next weekend, and that Sunday will be the Selection Sunday, and then that following week, March Madness starts.
So
Pretty cool.
is that
So-
the third week of March that it starts?
So it's going to be 11. Yeah. Early in the third week.
Or third weekend.
So it'll be, yeah. So it'll start. All right. But here's all I got to say about that right now. Here's the things to be thinking. It's not going to surprise you on some of them, but there's a lot of new names this year. The current projected number one seeds. Projected.
What, Duke, I'm guessing? Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Auburn is the number one overall.
Okay.
They're 27-2. Won 27 games, lost 2. Auburn,
Whoa.
Duke. This is in order, basically. Auburn, Duke, who's 26-3.
Okay.
Houston, which is a new arrival lately.
Yeah, I feel like I don't usually hear about them in this context.
They were the big story with NC State winning national championship in '83. Phi Slamma Jamma came out of Houston. That ring a bell? Phi Slamma Jamma. Can't talk about it to you right now if you don't remember that.
Okay, I'll take a note.
All right. Houston and then Tennessee. University of Tennessee is the other projected number one seed. So right now we have Auburn, Duke, Houston, and Tennessee as our projected number one seeds in the tournament. NCAA
okay.
tournament.
Yeah, they're the number one in each of their conferences, right?
Well, not their conferences, but it's going to be they're the projected number one seeds in each of the regional division, right? You always have, so you're going to have 4 number one seeds, and you got 4 sections of the country, and they keep playing down until there's 4 teams for the championship weekend, right? And they're the number one seeds. So officially, supposedly, they would be the 4 left, right? If that's how it ever worked.
Yes.
But it never works.
Yeah, if it was like you said with the football brackets, if it was chalked, right? Like if you if you took the bracket and just marked all the top ranked.
And with that, you should get a little bit of an easier schedule the first couple of games.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah, because the
number
top
one
seeds
seed,
play 16 or whatever,
correct,
right?
the lowest seed.
I think I always knew this, but for some reason coming into this episode tonight, I was just thinking, oh, you're ranked 1 through 64, and then because that's how many people are in the bracket, or teams are in the bracket, right? But you're saying it's divided into four regions of the country,
basically north, south, east, and west.
And so you got
some version of that, right?
Yeah, so you got rankings 1 or seeds 1 through 16 for each of those regions, and so yeah, 4 number one seeds. That makes sense.
Yep. So those are the top teams you said you want to. That's who you lead with right now.
Okay. Well,
as we get closer, we'll talk about dark horses, potentially surprise teams that could really do some damage.
You know what's funny is I heard the term dark horse in a cooking show Macy and I were watching recently. It's a cooking competition show, and I've heard it 1,000 times in my life, 1,000,000 times even, and I keep meaning to Google it. Could you help me understand what that is?
Yeah. Oh,
does that just mean like a surprise, like an underdog, like a surprise?
Exactly. It's a long shot.
Okay.
It's a long shot, and clearly this comes from the gambling times of horse racing. I mean, I don't even have to look it up. It's got to be it. It was a dark horse, and we'll look up the dark part. But so you're exactly right. It's the underdog. It's the long shot. Okay. Like if you're gambling, I'm going to take a long shot, really bad. Like odds are 250 to 1. He's going to win. That means he ain't got a lick of a chance, but somehow he does. Like Kentucky Derby, right?
Yeah, the Seabiscuit. Right. Seabiscuit was an underdog, right?
From the back behind and win the whole thing, and nobody predicted it, right? So, but that's a good question. I have never looked the etymology of this.
Yeah, we'll have to come back to the audience with the etymology, or somebody write us, text us, or email us if you know where dark horse comes from. But
I'm betting on it's from betting horses, real horses is what
it's got to be. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Maybe dark horse because they came up, upset someone, they lost all their money and went to a terrible state of darkness and depression.
Or they're coming from the shadows way back. It's dark. Yeah. You don't even see them. It's so dark back there. But then that's a more
romantic way to look at it.
Yeah, I like that. A lot better than your depression one. I don't know. So that's all I've got for you tonight. That's just our teasers. That's the big game this week. And Cooper Flagg is the big ticket this week.
Would you say Cooper Flagg's the number one player coming out of college?
Probably. He's probably going to be the number one pick. It looks like he's going to be the number one pick at age 18.
That's something.
Soon to be 19 when he gets picked.
Okay. Well, he did not waste as much time as I did in high school. It sounds like, that's for sure, or in childhood. So sounds like an impressive kid. That's crazy.
He's a good guy.
Well, let me hit you with a quick little mailbag and pops quiz before we sign off for the night. Okay, now I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about this, but we're already on time we're already out of time. So I'll just hit you with it really quick. So my friend Evan wrote in and he said that we ought to talk about the Dallas Mavericks, which if you don't know, listeners, that's the Dallas NBA team. I heard he was texting me about the Mavericks and I was like, the Mavericks. So I had to look them up and see that they were from Dallas. And
All
that
right.
they're an NBA team. Okay. So there you go. So there's a few points of, I guess there were a couple big injuries and stuff just last night. But the
That was
big
one
piece,
last night,
yeah, the big piece of news is that Luka was traded, which I didn't know who Luka was. Okay, so I had to look him up. But what do you know about this, Dad? Like, because he's saying this is like the worst trade in history, and I don't know. You want to tell us about that?
So he probably is. It might be one of the worst. It might be one of the worst ever. Interesting you said this. You know, I told you went to this card shop this morning. The owner is a younger man, really sharp, very nice. And I looked up, he had a big TV screen. Of course, the Sports Center was on. And I'm looking up while the little boys, are all looking at cards. I'm looking up and I see Kyrie Irving down. He goes down with a knee injury. And they pick him up and hobble him back to the free throw line where he shoots 2 free throws and makes them on one leg. And then they pick him up. I don't know why he did that. Guess he felt like that's just typical him. He's so interesting. But they carried him off. So ends up being later today, heard it was an ACL tear, and he's out for the year. Now, prior to that, oh my gosh, hang on, give me this. So what happened? He's been there, right? But Luka was his sidekick. That was his partner, right?
Okay.
Hang on, let me look at something real quick.
Kyrie Irving, he's another name I've heard it, even as a non-basketball fan. How old
what do you
is
remember?
He? Is he like nothing? But I'm wondering. I know he's great, but has he been in the league for a while, or is he? Because I know.
Yeah. No, he's
younger.
probably mid-30s now. He's getting older. He was a Duke player also.
Cool.
He's been around. He is the one who. Do you remember? Oh gosh, Cooper. Do you remember? I thought you remember the videos where he snuck in. He got all dressed up as a really old dude, and why all of a sudden
he was.
I've gone blank on his name.
Yeah, they
Uncle
call him
Drew.
Uncle
Drew.
Uncle Drew. Oh, cool. Okay,
he's Uncle Drew. Yeah.
Okay.
So
great. Which, guys, if you haven't seen the Uncle Drew videos from back in the day, those were hilarious.
They are the best. Them in high school. They are the best.
He would get disguised as an old man and just totally hustle people on these street courts, right, in New York or wherever it was.
Exactly. So what happened? L.A. Lakers ended up getting Luka, which was the craziest trade ever. And they traded they traded Anthony Davis, who was one, he's one of the best players in the league when he's healthy.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I kept hearing when I was looking up some YouTube videos on this, is that people kept calling him injury prone.
He's injury prone and older compared to Luka. Luka's young. He's barely hitting his prime, like 27, 28, I think. But I don't understand. He might, but I think he's 20. He might be 25, but I swear he's a little older. But anyway, bottom line, he's just hitting his prime, and he's amazing. He is amazing. And to trade, I don't get it. The people loved him. He was the face of the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, fans loved him. Just like this guy. This guy looked at it. He was sick. He goes, "I'm sick." He said, "I don't know what to even think." He said, "We made a terrible trade, and now Kyrie goes down. Anthony Davis is injured. We are horrific. This is a dumpster fire." It was such a dumpster fire that the ownership of the Mavericks, after they made the trade, offered refunds for the final portion of the season for ticket holders.
Holy cow.
And let me give you a little flavor here. Anthony Davis is being paid $43 million a year.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying. And then, wait a minute, I'm not through. Yeah, by Dallas.
Okay.
That's what they had to pay him because that's what he's making for the Lakers. And Kyrie Irving was making $41 million. So between them, there's $84 million sitting on the bench, injured, won't be playing the rest of the year.
Oh.
And Luka's having a ball, and with the Lakers, they're like 8 or 9-1 since he got there. So the Lakers made out like bandits, But
Yeah.
Dallas just put themselves in purgatory. I mean, they are in deep trouble, and they're loaded up with a salary that they've got to pay. So anyway, that's
Yeah.
why they're sick. That's why they're sick.
Well, yeah, that's to keep this short, and maybe we could revisit another time because I think there's some interesting stories here. But it basically sounds like people around the country are like, "What on earth were they thinking?" I'll tell you one.
Exactly.
I'll tell you one theory that I heard in a YouTube video is that
Give me a theory.
is that apparently Luka is he's kind of chubbing up. He's putting on apparently put on like 40 pounds. They think his training and dieting is apparently very bad, which I'm like, hey, if he's getting points on the board, then who cares, right?
Right. So that's a little bit, but he is still so good and so amazing and such a good guy. So yes, he lacks. Now he was making 43 million a year too, but they call it the LeBron effect. LeBron James, anybody that goes to LA, LeBron, and my hat's off to him for this. Michael Jordan's still the greatest ever to play NBA basketball, in my opinion. But LeBron is amazing. He's a second place. But LeBron has nobody. I mean, that man is 41? He looks like he could go play tight end for any NFL team right now. He's known for his perfect health care. I mean, tell you how he takes care of it. Apparently, I just heard this from your brother-in-law today. He was reading off something. Apparently, he takes a nap every day at the exact same time if he can. And his wife says, "Oh yeah, I'll take care of the kids like that if he'll just keep making the money. I'll let him get his nap every day." I mean, he's got his everything about him is so regimented for health and well-being. And he's not a partier, never has been. All those things. Well, they say every time a player comes, one of the big players like Luka, they get kind of swept up into the LeBron effect, and Luka will want to start working out more and be a little.
You're saying by being around LeBron, it levels you up, and
that's
you
correct.
want to be better.
Exactly. So they're expecting that, but yeah, they can say all that about him, but I'd take them way. Yeah. Anyway, so it was a.
I mean, I was kind of being funny. I mean, apparently he did put on weight. I was kind of
he's put on weight, but he's always kind of been like that. He's another European player, and he loves life. He's kind of casual and laid back, and yet he's probably one of the best players in the NBA.
It sounded like maybe he was a pain in the butt too behind the scenes.
I just don't think so. If you can deal with Kyrie Irving, oh gosh,
he a pain in the butt?
Yeah, in his own way. He's always he comes and goes. It depends how he's feeling about people and things in the organization, and whether how he's going to play. I think Luka was definitely. Yeah, no, I don't think he was a troublemaker at all. Anyway,
all right. Okay, I just want to hit you really quick. I had a couple other funny things, but I'll save them for next week. So, for now, let's finish up with Pop's quiz.
All right, give it to me.
Okay, this one is basketball related, of course.
Okay.
And I found this out when I was going down the rabbit hole of trades tonight, getting ready for this episode. So, do you know which team traded away Coby Bryant at the beginning of his career?
Sure.
Much to their.
Why are you giving me an easy one?
I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
Charlotte Hornets.
Okay, dang it. Yeah, I thought that might be too easy for you.
I was there last night, and I've had that thought every time I look at them. Yeah, we got a big man from the Lakers, and really that was kind of one of those pre-done deals. The way that was pre-planned.
Okay,
that was pre-planned ahead of time. We had the number one pick, and looking at an 18 or 19-year-old kid been spending the last 8 years at Italy, they just didn't buy into it, and we needed a big man because they had been playing pretty well, and we had gotten a pretty good team early on, and they went for something more. They thought more bankable or more dependable.
Yeah.
And that was it, though. There you go.
So sorry, you said Coby Bryant had been in Italy for the past 8 years?
Yeah, his father. I can't remember how many. It's many years. Yeah. He spoke Italian. His father I can't remember what he was over there. Was he in the military? Or his father played ball over there?
Okay.
Maybe he played European ball or some basketball. There's a reason. But yes. Yeah. So he was not on the normal track, right? There's no normal track with him, no college, no nothing back here.
I guess it'd be weird. Yeah, there's no like scouts going over to Italy usually, right? To check out high schoolers in Italy. If you're
so that's kind of how NBA. That happened. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow,
Charlotte took
wow.
what they considered the safe route on that one.
Yeah. Crazy. Well,
Not such a good route, was it?
right. Can't blame them, but it is crazy how that turned out.
Cool.
Well, way to go. And I don't know what your tally is these days, but just because we've been so off and on with Pop's quiz, but I'll try to be more steady from now on. Well, it's time to let you go, but everyone, go ahead and get in the spirit for March Madness. I'm sure brackets are going to start popping up soon, and everybody is going to start sending you links to join their brackets. So if you want to actually participate in society in that way this spring, stay tuned, and we'll keep you posted on all that you need to know.
All right, Coop, we got a PSA, public service announcement.
Okay.
You got to move your clocks forward this weekend.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Go ahead and warn you now.
Okay. Gosh, yeah, that's not great, but well, thanks for the heads up because I totally forgot. All right, Dad. Well, thanks for the great episode, and we'll catch you everybody next week.
Well done, Coop. See you, Coop.
All right. See you, Dad.
SportSense.